Hi, today I'm talking about complex trauma and anxiety recovery. And really, what we're going to talk about today is that perfection is not required. So, perfection not required. That's really a huge theme, something I say all the time to clients, to myself. Actually, it's kind of the way I live at this point. Um, and it's really empowering. It's really liberating, and it's the way I live now. But I have a history of OCD, so I was not living like that. I was living like perfection was the holy grail, and drive myself nuts, literally. So, but what I've learned and been able to integrate and embody, and really is a principle to this to brain function, is that perfection is not required. And so that's what we're talking about today. I want to talk about healing complex trauma, anxiety, and depression, as a matter of fact. Um, you can only get so many words in the title before the title starts to be mind numbing. But anyway, depression is in there as well. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I want to show you I want you to see that healing is possible and inevitable with the right ingredients, and that one of the ingredients is not perfection. But let's talk about that path and how to get there and how liberating it is and what to look for. My name is Rachel McLeod. I'm a mental health therapist, an emotional wellness coach, and a therapist mentor. And I specialize in helping people do the brain work for resolving symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. And so the brain has a beautiful process for this. I love this process. My life is good because of this process. My life was bad because this process does malfunction. This process does get stopped and impaired, and then it doesn't resolve the symptoms and create the health and wellness and accuracy and mental health that it could be that it needs to be creating for us. And so we get this unblocked, and all of a sudden it's moving, and we're healing, we're growing, we're connecting, we're finding fulfillment, we're elevating, our mood is elevating, on and on and on. And it's just this process gets impaired, and so we actually can help it in one spot. And perfection is not required to help the brain to be able to complete these processes and create health and wellness. So that's the good news. Um, this desire for perfection is multiple things. One, it's very simple: fear not being utilized by the system well. Our mind body system has to metabolize all of our emotions in order to create end products. Just like you have to metabolize your food in order for your body to make end products like blood, bones, marrow, tendons, ligaments, new cells. It has to go through a process to be utilized well by the brain to create this wellness and health that you see. Our emotions are the same way. Fear is one of those things that the body needs to metabolize to be able to create end products. When the body is finished metabolizing fear, which is not a fat long process unless this process is not working, then it's a lifetime and it never completes. Um, but when this is working, fear gets converted by the brain into end products of hope, courage, new ways of being. Okay, so you want new ways of being, you need to run this fear all the way through the process and get it out the factory in these products of courage, hope, and new beginnings. So that's really, really important. But so I don't want you not to have fear. I don't even want you to be fearless, because that's not how it works. I want you to be great at converting fear into courage and hope and new beginnings. When your brain practices that right in the beginning, where it's probably very slow, and when I'm working with people, it's a slow process to get the hang of this and to get it going right. Slow meaning, uh, it's slow is a really weird thing here, because once we get on target, like we gotta target it and then we walk it through it, maybe 2 minutes, right? That's slow. But sometimes the positioning of it, finding the fear, getting the fear loaded up for processing, it's another 10-15 minutes. So in the beginning, it's like that, and it's manual. We're manually operating this process, and then pretty soon the brain is like, "Huh, look at what we're doing with this." And then the next thing you know, we're really good at it, and it's happening faster and faster. Anything that you, if you're trying to bake a cake and you bake the same cake every day, you're pretty soon you're really, really fast at it. That's because brains master whatever they practice. And yes, along the way you're cracking eggs and you're missing the bowl and all this, you're making a mess some days and whatever. But really, after that happens enough, then it's fast and then it becomes unconscious. You don't even know you're doing it. Same thing with baking a cake. If you bake the cake every day, pretty soon you're watching TV, you're doing the things, you're not even thinking about baking the cake. You're just a cake baking machine and it's in the oven and everyone's eating the cake, right? Same thing with our fear. If our fear is getting utilized well, we it will sink into an unconscious process, and then all of a sudden we just have this factory that makes courage, hope, new beginnings, right? um, that's what we want. We don't want fear to stay unprocessed because it's going to do things like make us fixate on things like perfection, doing things just right. Am I doing this right? Am I not doing this right? Am I doing this right? With anxiety, with these disorders, um, that percussion is just fueling it, right? We actually don't need it. We don't need the perfection, but we do need to take all this worry, all this fear, and we need to get that stuff processed, right? We need the end products that it makes for us. Um, One of the things about perfectionism is that it's we have this drive based on fear to prove our worthiness. This is also because of shame, because of our fear of shame, fear of feeling shame, fear of the pain of shame. And so we'll need to prove our worthiness, and perfectionism. We think if we can do it perfectly, it'll prove our worthiness. And this is unconscious. You bring this to conscious awareness, you might notice it shifts already as you're talking about this and looking at this with me. But really, we want to complete the processes with us and get you out of that loop of needing to prove your worthiness. Um, Also, perfectionism is a need for control. We feel so insecure and so unstable, so unsafe that we need to control every little bit so we can. We're actually trying to set our brain up to be able to create uh, the safety signals. Like brains need specific things to create safety, and sometimes those things are external to us, and so we need to see them in order for our brain to say, "Okay, we're safe." We'll relax. We need that safety to do many of our functions in life. And so the brain, in the beginning, it is an external process, but we want to bring it in. When children are, when we're little, it is where our safety is externalized. It is in the parent. The parent creates the safety for us, or they don't. We don't have a lot of control over that. And when we have childhood times of parents without unable to make that for us, it's never been made. That internal safety has never happened yet. So that from that internal lack of safety, we're going to go for perfectionism, need for control. We're going to be more controlling and those sorts of things. Um, but instead, what the work we want to do here is we want to bring the safety internal. We want the safety cues internal to the self. We want the nervous system creating safety for the life, and then that spreads outward instead of needed to control the outward so that we can create the internal safety and stability. And so, said another way, we want your mind body system to have multiple ways of creating safety internally, that it can create safety in multiple different situations, and the cues for safety are not external, or less and less external. Anyway, another piece of this is that perfectionism can just be about worry. I'm just worried. I'm just worried. And if I get it just right, if I do everything right, if I line everything up, if I think the right thoughts, if I oh okay, I thought all the right thoughts, but I have this one worry over here. No worries, no worries. We're not doing any worries, right? We're trying to make it perfect inside. It's perfect. Then I'll be okay. This is a delusion. This is a fixation. This is an obsession. And this is not health. This is not how we want to do it. We want to be able to have health and wellness even when things are not perfect, because things are not perfect. How things are not perfect along the path of not perfect is this not perfect space is where we want to create safety, where we want to expand and unfold. There is no such place as perfection, so we can't really build there. And that's one of my other things here is that your brain is going to build for you. It's just building, right? We want it building for who you actually are. Authenticity is really what we're going here, not perfection. Authenticity, who you actually are, your authentic self, that's who we want your brain building for, right? Imagine you're this, right? If imagine perfection is some ideal over here, it's not actually on the reality plane, right? It's over here. Your brain, if you focus over here and this is what you're working for and this is what's important, your signal to your brain and life, and you've been conditioned to signal out here, your brain will actually jump up and build over here, and you will remain here in a vacuum of not safety, not things created. Your dream life is over here, and you can't get there because there is no there. That's not a real place, and so you don't get to enjoy what your brain is building and making for you because it's not actually for you. It's for perfection. It's for maybe you need this perfection for your parent. It's for your parent. Right? Your brain is building something for other things and other people, and meanwhile you're in here naked and afraid. Your brain's not building that the dream life. It's not building security, and you might have all the things externally. You might have, the house, the career, the 2.5 children, the relationship, but inside you're naked and afraid. Your brain has not built the safety in there yet, and so you're still creating and reaching for perfection instead of health and wellness and security and safety and stability internally. Okay, so it's a little shift, but it's a big shift, and perfection is not required. Um, I do this work a lot. I've worked with hundreds of people, and this works. And let me tell you what. Back in my day, this is what I'm like, a little programmer over here, helping people reprogram, rewire their brain. Back in my day, back in the 1900s, in high school, I was taking classes for computer programming. My brain works like this. I am a programmer. But I'll tell you what, in computer programming, you need perfection. I would make these codes and these programs and it'd be great on point. I was going to do things. I'm missing a comma in there somewhere and the whole program crashes. And I was so frustrated. I was like, these dumb, stupid machines. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't work with this. I cannot. I do not have enough perfection to share with a program to make a computer do the thing. So I gave it up. But here I am. And now I'm programming with one of the most intelligent things in the world. And it lets me, when I'm playing with people and we're setting up stuff, and, I'm setting up little hurdles for the brain to run over, and we're doing little training programs mentally. It lets me set it up just well enough. And it's like, I got this. Oh, and you mean this and you mean that. That's what I'm talking about. And we're not being perfect over here. Clients are worried all the time. Am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? Well, I didn't do this, and I didn't do my homework, and I didn't do this, and I didn't do that. So your brain is doing great. Look, I can see this evidence, this evidence, this evidence, this evidence that your brain is moving. Plus, I also know I give people homework and they don't necessarily do it, but their brain heard me. And so while they're sleeping, they do it. And then they come back and they're like, I didn't do my homework. And then they tell me the scenario where the exact thing that we were working on, they did it. And it's like, just because giving them homework, their brain is becoming aware of the project. It's like, bet I got this, because the brain is supposed to be doing things behind the scenes. There is so much of you that is creating health and wellness without your conscious mind getting involved, without you dictating it, controlling it, being perfect. There's so much health and wellness going, but it is contingent upon one ingredient. And you and I are going to make sure we get that one ingredient in there a ton. And guess what? Even as you're giving it that one ingredient, it doesn't have to be a perfect ingredient. It doesn't have to be done perfectly. The one ingredient is we need to send safety signals to your survival system that your survival system is going to pick up and interpret as safety, right? We don't want to send safety and it's freaking our survival system out and it's like, oh, we're in danger. That's not the ingredient. The ingredient has to be just right for your survival system. Survival systems, all of them, use the body to receive safety signals, to interpret safety signals. All survival systems are using the body to interpret danger or safety, right? We don't logic and reason with them, we use the body. So if your heart rate starts picking up, right, the body is sending signals of danger to the survival system. The survival system is like, I hear you, I got you, we're in danger, we're out, right? But at the same time, if we can be held or rocked, I I can't do that in therapy, so I use specific interventions for this that the survival system loves. And plus, I don't know that as an adult you can get enough rocking and hugging and patting to get you through a disorder. So we're going to rely on some other methods. But please, by all means, get all the hugs and, all that stuff, that organic, yummy in the world, um, because it does help your system heal because it's the one ingredient. And so I teach 4 interventions for this. I'm going to name them now. My brain's like, what do we do, Rachel? Okay, we're naming them. Emotional freedom techniques, thought field therapy, energy medicine, and EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. These are all interventions that use the body to heal, to help the body, the survival system, receive some set messages of safety. That's it. That we need to do. We don't need to do EMDR perfectly. We don't need to do tapping perfectly. We don't need to do energy medicine perfectly. We don't need to do thought field therapy perfectly. We can do half C's, we can do 3/4 C's, we can do oopsies, we can do whatever. But as long as we're getting some of that stuff through, your survival system is like, I hear you, it's safe. Okay, we'll let y'all work it out. We'll let the whole mind body system work this stuff out, and that the brain returns into a whole brain state. And this is really the gorgeousness. You need this. You don't need perfection. You need the brain to respond in a whole brain state. If this part gets on there, we are winning. That's all you need. And now, let me tell you something else. Let me tell you some of the non perfection things you're going to see along your journey as you heal from anxiety, depression, traumatic stress, and maybe complex anxiety and depression and trauma. Um, you're going to do these things. And so, let me tell you, as you do them, it's fine. Okay, because perfection is not required. You don't need to heal in a perfect way. You don't need to be perfect on your healing journey. You can do these strategies I'm going to name right here, and as long as you're getting some of your survival system engaged at some points during this thing, you will heal and heal and heal and heal and heal. And while people are doing these things, I try to get them a ton so that we heal really, really, really fast and well and deeply. And people can only move at their own pace, and that's fine. Perfection is not required. Someone else's journey is not required. Someone else's standards are not required. My standards for you are not required. Okay? But let's say you're relapsing. Perfection not required. That's totally fine. Now, some of us have relapses that are dangerous and life threatening. If that's true, please get a whole team involved to keep you out of relapse or to reduce the harm of your relapse. That's what we really want to do. We want to reduce the harm of your relapse. This is brains do relapse for very important things. It is part of the healing function. And so we want to get that stuff processed. We want to send tons of safety signaling to your survival system when this is occurring. But okay, you relapse. Oh, it's over. No, perfection not required. You get to relapse and heal. Okay, you get to relapse, you get to scream at somebody again and still be on the healing journey. And I don't want you to do that, right? We're not advocating for going screaming at people, but we are talking about nervous systems that are highly reactive. You can shut down for the 16th time in the morning and not go to work. And you could still be healing. That is part of what this looks like. It's kind of messy, but we're just keep moving it along. And if you understand this is what happens and this is normal and you can still heal while you're doing it, you're going to be less afraid. You're going to be less terrified. You're going to be less ashamed. You're going to be less hopeless. Just keep it moving. Your brain is if your brain is doing these things and processing, we're winning. Because we want your brain to meet you authentically where you're at. You've been freezing for a long time. Let's get your brain in there and resolve that for you and get your brain a solution for you in that freeze moment, in that relapse moment. And then self-sabotage, fine, normal, perfection not required. You get to sabotage yourself. I know it's annoying, I get it, but that doesn't mean you're not healing. Let's get your survival system getting safety while you're self-sabotaging, and watch yourself stop that pattern. Okay, but sometimes we got to run the pattern to stop the pattern. And it's okay if you do some, and lots of times we don't have to run the pattern to stop the pattern. And so if you get, it's like those get out of jail free cards. If you get one of those, excellent. But hey, if you got to do another lap, do your lap as well as you possibly can with as much processing running through with your whole brain state and with your survival system receiving as much safety signaling during that time as possible. This is an art. and there's a science here, right? But I'm talking about the art of this. Um, Refuge seeking, right? Um, I got a message from someone on left a comment on YouTube, and they're, or maybe no, it was an email, and they're frustrated with themselves about, like, their anxiety is getting better as they're using some of the tools that I invited them to use, that I'm teaching in my free program, and their anxiety, as they're using it, they're forgetting their anxiety. It actually, it's helping them, their body metabolize the anxiety, and so the anxiety is, when the mind body system is losing focus on that because it's no longer the important thing to be doing. The brain got what it needed from there and it's just releasing it. But they're worried because they're like, what if I'm just pacifying myself? What if I'm just lying to myself and I'm seeking another refuge? Your brain's supposed to be creating refuges for you everywhere. I want you refuge seeking. And when you're in there, you're going to be receiving the data of that refuge that your brain built for you. And if it's yucky, you're going to receive that and process it. And your brain's going to say, oh, we don't like this one. Let's make this one better. But I want your brain to make tons of refuges for you. That's actually what you need. It's not like we want you out here in the cold, uh, miserable, and now you're tough and now you're strong. No, I want you very comfortable, feeling very safe. Your brain is supposed to make that for you. That safety and comfort and refuge and that safe place is the launching pad of all humankind to their higher levels. So, right? But some of us aren't very comfortable in those places. And so it's perfection not required. Maybe you have a love hate relationship with your comfort zone, with your refuge seeking behaviors. Um, Perfection not required. Your brain will work that out for you. Um, Escapism, your romance novels, your work, your hobbies, you're fixing the car in the garage, you're traveling with your friends. What the heck ever, heck ever. That escapism is totally fine here. Perfection is not required. You can still be escaping and healing. I actually have strategies for that. I like it when my clients are doing that, and we're just going to send tons of safety signals to the brain, and pretty soon they're not escaping in that situation anymore. And instead of escaping, they're like, I can do this. They feel confident and capable because their survival system got the support it needed to allow healing in the whole brain to get in there and make some beautiful things for them, and they do no longer need that behavior. Um, Dissociation. You can dissociate your way through all of this stuff, and be fine. You can come in and out of dissociation, fine, not a problem. We're still healing. You don't need to perfectly be in the present moment right now. Your system may not be able to support you if you're fully in the present. It might be too much right now. That's fine. We're going to meet your system right where it's at, and it's you're still healing. You don't have to be perfect here. Distractions, right? Mindless scrolling, all that stuff. You can still do that and heal. As a matter of fact, you need to be healing in that spot. So we're going to add some survival system support in there. And withdrawal. Lots of us are self-shaming and angry with ourselves for withdrawing. Perfection not required. You can do that and still heal as part of this healing journey. You're not walking if you get it just right, you're going to heal, right? No, I want you to live, and I want your brain to create wellness where you are. I want you to feel, and I want your brain to create wellness where you are. I want you to not feel, and I want your brain to see that you're not feeling and that you don't feel safe to heal. And I want it to get in there and make it safe for you to feel. And I want you to connect or not connect. I want your brain to be like, oh, look, we haven't connected with somebody that we love for a really long time. Do you see us? What are we going to do about that? What are we going to make so that we can stay in connection? Yes. And if you're being perfect, your brain can't see your weaknesses. It can't see the things that you're not able to do. So it can't create health and wellness for you in those spots. And you need it there. Because this perfection thing is exhausting, it's depleting, it's nerve-wracking, it's on edge, it's not safe. We're not healing in that state of perfection, being driven to perfection, seeking, obsessed with the perfection, finding only safety in perfection. No, we need to expand the safety into your real world right where you are. So, yeah, that's it. So I really want to invite you to come play with me with this new way of working with your brain to help your brain heal without needing perfection, but with adding in this one ingredient I'm talking about. And I have a free program where I teach three of my favorite interventions, and I want you to try it, pick it up, try these interventions, try this new way of working with your brain and see what happens. If you like it, I want to show you some more things. If you're like, whoa, this is interesting, whoa, I feel more relaxed, whoa, I'm feeling more confident in these spaces, there's more. I have a whole nother journey to take you on if that's the case. And I want you to come on these journeys with me. They are powerful. They create lasting change that your brain makes for you, which is who's supposed to make this for you. So the link to the free program and the next part of the journey, my online program, is in the description part of this. And so if you like this, like, follow, subscribe. It was wonderful connecting with you. I'll talk to you later. Happy healing, or as happy as possible healing. Take care. Bye.